Hello there and welcome to Rel's Champion Spotlight. She just made her way onto the PvE and she's an angry 16-year-old girl that was trained by LeBlanc to steal magic from her friends and can manipulate metal. So she made herself a mount from it and she can also use the metal as armor to become a literal tank. Let's get over her abilities, then I'll show you all of her emotes as well as her skin, Battle Queen Rel. Her passive, Break the Mold, reduces her attack speed, but her auto attacks steal 10% armor and magic resist from targets and deal bonus magic damage. Those attacks stack, meaning you can hit multiple champions and you will steal the armor from all of them as long as you keep refreshing it at least on one of them before the buff runs out. Rel keeps the bonus armor and magic resist from all enemies, so you don't have to keep hitting all to refresh it individually. This also works on minions, but still less armor from them, so she can annoy her AD carry and ruin their farming by trying to stack up armor. Shattering Strike is her Q, thrusting her lance, destroying all shields and dealing magic damage. This works for any types of shields, those from abilities or runes or items. If her targets don't have shields, the first unit hit takes more magic damage instead and gets the passive steal effect. If she's bound to an ally with her E, both Rel and her ally also heal for each enemy champion hit. Her W is a short novel that's basically 2 passives and 2 abilities. The first part of it is armor up and can be used while she's on her mount, while also having a passive that increases her movement speed but is reduced while taking damage. And the active ability while she's mounted makes Rel leap off her mount, knocking up enemies in the area she lands on and dealing magic damage. She now becomes a real tank, gaining a shield, increased armor and magic resist, but greatly reduced movement speed. Now her W turns into mount up, getting herself back on the mount, gaining a burst of movement speed even more if running towards enemy champions, and causing her next auto attack while this movement speed buff is still up to throw the target over her shoulder and deal additional magic damage. Attract Repel is her E. She can bind a piece of armor to an ally, granting them armor and magic resist based on your current armor and magic resist while near them. This has no cost and she can cycle the targeted ally that gets this buff after a short cooldown. If she gets out of the range of the binding, it breaks, but once in range again it automatically rebinds it, and if cast on herself she unbinds from her ally. If using this ability while bound to an ally, she stuns enemies around and between herself and the bound ally and deals magic damage, meaning the ones in her or her ally's circle get this, as well as enemies in between them on the chain. And finally, Rel's ultimate is really cool, exploding in a magnetic fury, pulling nearby enemies towards her while constantly drawing enemies towards her and dealing magic damage over its duration. You can't teleport them with you, so if you use Flash for example, but the enemies don't have to be around her circle for it to work initially, so you can activate it and then run into them and they will still get pulled and damaged. Though according to her ability rundown page, this also doesn't interrupt the enemy's actions, so if they are casting an ability, they will still be casting while they're getting pulled. Leveling up, the passive doesn't increase the stolen amount, Q reduces the cooldown, increases the damage and the healing, W the damage, shield and movement speed towards enemies, E the damage and reduces the cooldown, and the ultimate reduces the cooldown and increases the damage per second. As for the build, she's a super tanky support, so you can start up with Relic Shield or Steel Shoulder Guards. I think the Shoulder Guards are better because they got Steel in the name and she's metal. Then go with more tanky items, or the mythic pick between Locket, Shurelias or Chem Tank, then more general tanky items like Ziggs, Knight's Vow or Abyssal Mask. At max level, with the full build, her damage is still pretty weak, but she's very reliable for her teammates with all the utility and tankiness she can provide, even if it takes 10 years to kill an enemy on her own. Plus, the more armor the enemies have, the more you take away and give your binded ally, so if she can hit every enemy champion during a fight, she'll help her AD carry with a ton of armor and magic resist. Plus her healing is pretty damn strong at max level, and it's higher the lower her health is. And that's about all you need to know about Rel. Take a look at her emotes now, as well as a spotlight of her skin. Let me know what you think about her, leave a like and subscribe or I will find you and steal your metal spoons, and I will see you soon in the Shadowlands. Bye bye.
You in pieces. Whee! I refuse to be broken!
Excellence is measured in sacrifice. Or whatever.
Whee! I refuse to be broken!
I'm the happiest girl in the world.
Iron body, iron will. This'll shut you up. I'll finish this fight.
Can't tell if I taste metal or blood.